Bem-vindos, então, agora sim, à oitava sessão do nosso KPMG Talks. Uma sessão que vai falar sobre o tema da transformação digital e que encerra o nosso ciclo que se iniciou em novembro de 2021 com a análise dos principais tópicos identificados pelos CEOs inquiridos pela KPMG no nosso CEO Outlook. A nossa expectativa é de que os resultados do novo survey que serão publicados alguns entre outubro e novembro de 2022 nos permitam iniciar um novo ciclo com aquilo que são os principais aspectos de um mundo em mudança, com um conjunto de desafios adicionais que estão neste momento na discussão e na agenda de todos os CEOs e de todos os C-levels a nível mundial. Mas ainda assim, vamos agora falar um pouco sobre um tema que obviamente todos nós sabemos falar um pouco sobre ele. É uma daquelas temas que faz parte das nossas conversas, mas nós procuramos trazê-lo um bocadinho mais a fundo e trazer aqui um conjunto de especialistas para falarem sobre ele. Eu vou mudar agora para inglês, uma vez que temos aqui dois convidados também que falam inglês e, portanto, good morning to all of you, and we will start our discussion about digital transformation as one of the topics that was identified in the CEO Outlook as one of the key topics for companies and corporates around the world in 2022. Digital transformation is, of course, one of the main aspects of the strategies that many organizations have been developing. KPMG in Portugal participates in a panel with a big number of companies that have identified digital transformation as one of the key topics for their future strategy, both in terms of revenue, in terms of efficiency, but also in terms of the improvement of the user experience. All of these will be addressed today in our conversation because we consider that both competitiveness in the market, efficiency, but also the positioning of companies requires them to change the way in which they do business, and in some cases, how they address most of the big challenges that they will have. For this effect, we have addressed and invited a panel that presents different perspectives about this. We will have Raul Diaz. Thank you, Raul, for being here. Sorry, Ralph Diaz. Thank you for being here with us. He is a practice leader for AHF Research. It's a company, an independent company with more than 300 reports published every year about the aspects related with digital. He will bring us a view and a small presentation about the way in which he sees most of these aspects and addressing one of the things that is most dear for KPMG in Portugal, which is the issue of low code. Then we have Raul, who is a member of KPMG in Germany, member of the KPMG Lighthouse, which is I would call an entity in which we address most of the challenges related with data and analytics and all of this digital transformation. And he's been cooperating with Rui Gonçalves, one of our technology partners here in Portugal, who has been developing our practice in this area and has been one of the distinguished members of our low-code center of excellence that we are developing and establishing in Portugal. So the objective and the idea is to have a small conversation about the challenges that corporates face within the perspective of this digital transformation, but also how to tackle some of these in an efficient and economic way in order to achieve the better results. Also explaining and exploiting some of the ways in which we have been helping some of the companies doing this. So without further notice, Ralph, please, the floor is yours. And thank you very much for being here with us.
Thank you, Miguel. So thank you, Rui, for having me here, Raul. So I'm just going to give a bit of perspective on how we at HFS Research really see this whole digital transformation journey. So we spend a lot of time talking to service providers, enterprise clients, and really understand how they are managing this very complex journey and how, more importantly, really they are transforming themselves not only from a technology perspective, but really the whole people, process, culture, mindset, which are obviously paramount and have probably even bigger weight than the technology only. So a quick reality check. So we conduct an annual survey where we interview roughly 800 executives across global 2,000 organizations. We survey them, we do some qualitative interviews, really to try to understand a bit of the pulse, yeah, and that's why it's called the pulse study and how really they feel around very important topic, digital transformation being obviously one of them, and the conclusion is quite obvious. Digital is becoming an imperative. We asked the question around digital was a good idea before the shock. Now is it an imperative for survival? And as you can see, 87% agree or strongly agree that it's not anymore becoming an option. It's actually a way of surviving. And similar, we asked them really if COVID has drastically accelerated this digital journey. And the response, again, overwhelming, 85% of them mentioned that it's absolutely being a catalyst, an accelerator. And now there is really a desire because of the COVID shock really to accelerate that journey. And we're going to see really what that journey look like. So in HFS research, we have an enterprise innovation framework that underpin really what we call the digital journey. Digital transformation journey is not something you decide to start with an end in mind. I think it's really an evolution, and it's definitely a way of continuously innovating yourself as an enterprise. And the innovation scope really, for us, encompass 3 horizons. We've seen really companies accelerating their innovation really from a functional perspective. Yeah, and that's really what everyone calls, I think, Horizon 1 digital. The digitalization, the move to a digital platform environment is actually the foundation for being able to move to the next stage of the innovation spectrum. So Horizon 1, everyone is in there. It's really around to digitally optimize, to drive a superior outcome, and moving really all these legacy tech process, legacy procedures, and make them way more efficient by design. And it requires obviously an organization shift. It requires a shift also in the way you adopt technologies. And so the mindset of organization change, tech change, these are really 2 big aspects of that transformation. So from an organization mindset, that first horizon of innovation, really it's about bringing efficiency, bringing effectiveness of processes, being able to process more, being able to accelerate that, be more productive, try to unify reporting across all these functional silos we have in the organization, try to bring some domain expertise also to start really embedding those technology processes, and really make the most of really being able to connect teams via process workflow, intelligent workflows. And we've seen a lot in that initial Horizon 1, companies adopting really a lot of tech around process automation. And these can go around data ingestion technology, RPA, intelligent workflow, process mining, this whole suite of tools that ultimately really help digitize processes. And really bringing for us really was really the trifecta of automation, intelligence, AI, bringing all of these, but also the insights, so the ability to report quickly on the state of the processes. And again, the cloudification of process, trying to already start migrating processes, workload into the cloud. That has been really the first initial stage of the Horizon 1. Security came into there. If you can see really the 5 biggest technology that have been adopted, well, with that move in mind, enterprise also are starting to focus really on data privacy, trust, security, ensuring that those new redesigned processes are actually secured by design. And that also has been a big push around cybersecurity technologies. The second really wave of innovation, it's what we call the one office. I think the functional one, the initial one, was very much driven by functional requirements. So we had procurement going and doing their own digital transformation, finance the same, customer experience also trying to do the same from a customer perspective, adopting these tools. the enterprise quickly realized that if the front office is not connected with the back office, having one mindset of when you digitize the digital underpinning process, all these new ways of reaching out to client, is like going back. I think the one office really the enterprise, together the whole enterprise objective growth mindset. Quickly flow into the back office, and from the back office not happening. There is a disconnect between the operation and really the back office. One go faster than the other one. So this one is the whole functional side as well. And then the connectivity becomes this the adoption of feedback. I think it's more and more the customers talking to the enterprise, how actually to get that data in a more decentralized way that can flow way more easily, way more secured by design. Reality, IoT, get your front and front office user experience actually is the fabric of this data generation. Really, innovation is really moving outside of the enterprise. I think it's transformation moving into an enterprise one, but if you don't go large pilots around data analytics, how to ensure that you can process way more data through these quantum computing methods. But this also brings a whole bunch of risk around encryption level, how actually to make sure you can deal with this. So this is really what we see. And when you see a lot around these three horizons, they're all unfolding at the same time. It's a sequential step. You start functional, you move enterprise. It's all happening. And I think it's all happening, and the companies are getting ready. Obviously, in the functional side, they're way more mature, but they're already thinking about the horizon 3. And that's really something to keep in mind, that it's not really a sequential journey, but it's 3 unfolding at the same time, and obviously different gradual levels. So digital transformation, again, what we've seen is that people are deploying automation as part of a digital transformation. It's not anymore the view that 2 years ago, I would say, or 3 years, where automation was a bit of a hype, specifically with new tools like RPA. Looking at cost reduction, we're going to really try to modernize legacy processes to make them more efficient. I think that was great, absolutely great, but that's not in the end in mind. They realize that and transformation in effect with the right governance, the right scalability. And I think we quickly realize that it's not pretty much resolve everything, but it's a set of tools from data ingestion, process mining, RPA, new type that intelligent automation coming in, but again, and ways of deploying this. So cost reduction is not there. Legacy also, it's not really there. They don't really think of using legacy, but really try to get rid of legacy and try to use automation in a way more efficient way. So if you really look at really the automation strategy that enterprises are taking now, so clearly it's really, I think some companies have taken a bit of a pause, saying we've acquired a lot of tech which are supposed really to change the way we automate, give way more power to business users, being able to build their own automation. But I think finally there is a realization that automation, data, and cloud migration needs to go hand in hand. And actually this trifecta, when you bring them together, accelerate and make your automation way more effective. And then we in HFS, I mean, we always say that data is the strategy, automation is the discipline, and your AI intelligence is just the refinement of the model. You can't really jump on AI if your data is bad. And you can't really automate if your data is bad. You can't really fetch unstructured data, semi-structure, put them into the mix. So I think it's definitely the three combined, and finally enterprise realized that, and actually it's the number one around their objective align. Second one also is trying to get a better return of investment of what they've acquired. They have a lot of companies purchased so many tech. The majority of them had a bad journey, to be honest, specifically in those tech which were supposed to be very easily to implement without any help from outside. Well, they realized that this type of automation are not really scalable by nature. And finally, they are kind of revisiting, and I try to understand how they can sweat the asset, really what they have, make the most out of it by getting experts and really start really to think about deploying these tools with a long-term strategy. And really something that came also is really the realization that end-to-end process redesign is the foundation to actually improve the deployment of automation. You can't really take your existing processes, start putting automation center, left, right, just for the sake of bringing a bit of acceleration in the way these processes are run. They really now are revisiting from scratch the processes, eliminating tasks, which actually is way better than automating. Yeah, if you can really revisit your process and eliminate all the waste, you don't even need to automate. But again, I think this process redesign has really helped embed automation technology in a way more efficient way, and that's what we're actually seeing now in the markets. And really to close that, I think we've seen more and more the companies adopting low code. I'm not going to enter in the no code area, but really the low code, which is about really accelerating the development of applications, accelerating the development of automation engine that can actually be quickly deployed in production. So it's not only an acceleration in terms of development, but also acceleration in terms of putting into production some software, some agents that can actually do a piece of a job that you're doing, or actually a larger piece. Yeah, but we've seen more and more adoption of low code across, I would say, three big areas. Low code for data ingestion, IT departments really being able to use those low codes to really start fetching data in a way more easier way, so that they don't spend 80% of their time trying to make sense of that and then put it back in a repeatable scenario. Low code into the processing, really being able to create a program, a script in a way faster, in a way faster manner, and then start executing a specific step or a sub process within their area. And also low code around also, I would say, reporting, being able to go target a data lake, create their own bespoke report in 3 clicks. I think that side of the low code also has been, I would say, quite successful right now. And that's what we see, the one that is being way more adopted by business users. But again, I think there's still a bit of a mix approach here that companies are taking. But clearly, companies see low code as a way of accelerating digital innovation. Maybe it's because you can actually start business users, IT users, creating their own apps in a way faster manner. And I think that's really what brings really that technology with part of digital transformation, being able to quickly digitalize something and bring it to production. Yeah. But again, we see low code at this moment that is a technology that is really leading developments. We don't really see yet an uptake into the business really managing those type of solution. But if you see really the latest response from to that question, we also see that definitely there is a desire for the tech function to ramp up also the usage from the business. And we see this whole citizen development program where IT is becoming fully aligned and involved. 3 years ago, actually, there was a bit of rejection, but now they fully understand that this is a journey. There is an IT piece of responsibility also to start empowering those users, running those pilots, understand that there's an IT discipline to be followed to be able to start using those solutions. But clearly, we see more and more training investments that are pushed to business users with an appetite to actually start using those solutions. So it's not anymore IT versus business. We really see now the two coming together as also a way of accelerating a type of developments. I'm not going to say it's going to replace all IT developments, but clearly it's going to be able to support a lot of developments that, again, IT function might not want to do because they need to focus on the big bets. But the rest is going to be way and more open, but again, with the proper security and governance that the enterprise needs to put in place. So more than happy to receive question at the end. I think it's going to be an open dialogue. But now I'm going to hand over to Raul.
Yeah, thank you. Fantastic insights, Ralph. And maybe Rui, you can complement what Ralph just said about overcoming legacy systems and going on to business evolution, business journey to the Horizon 3. So yeah, what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, thank you, Raul and Ralph. It was really a great pitch, and what you put in one place, and you called in HFS the Horizon 3, the one ecosystems for customers, partners, and employees describes quite well how we need to balance experience for these three. We can call it stakeholders of the digital transformation. I understand that, and putting in the scope of your question, Raul, many related with the need to optimize legacy systems. That optimization are essentially related with the need to automate and to modernize it. And in the scope of what you mentioned, Raul, and again that one ecosystem, we understand that means that the digitally transformed firms need to respond with greater agility to customers, to suppliers, and also to employees, because they need to be informed with relevant data, with relevant insights, and at the same time, they will need automation to scale that faster. So for most of the companies, optimizing legacy systems and digital transformation, I can see we can call it two sides of the same coin, because most of the companies on the market are not digital first. They need to live with the legacy systems, and based on our experience in KPMG in different geographies and in different industries, there are a lot of drivers on that scope. And if you allow me 2 more minutes,
sure.
That can force to put modernization and automation at the front of what we call digital transformation. Digital transformation is almost everything today. There are not transformation without digital transformation. It's very hard to find the transformation of businesses without including new technologies or review the current technologies. So I will underline a couple of drivers to put some more KPMG perspective on Horizon 3 that are forcing modernization, and at the end putting that ecosystem Horizon in the agenda of our clients, and in an indirect way, they are also stated and mentioned on our CEO Outlook study. One is business fit. You need to modernize because the requirements of your business today are quite different and quite demanding, and cannot be met by the traditional systems or the legacy systems. And balance and business fit need to be balanced at the same time with business value. The same systems are not produce sufficient value for the business as the way they need data. They need to be scalable. And for sure, the cost is a topic. Not only the cost, but the complexity, and quite important, also the risk. We're talking a lot about omni-channel businesses. We are putting all these ecosystems. We need to be efficient on an omni-channel perspective, and you are opening doors to the market, to the clients, to the suppliers, and that comes with a burden that needs to be taken. That is the security. So. Going to your question, Raul, for KPMG, this is really our understanding about related with optimizing legacy systems. This is not only, a nice word that we use for automation, and as you mentioned quite well, automation is quite different. Now it's not only putting bots in some processes. It's much more than that. So needs to be framed on all of this, on the scope of all of this.
You want to add something, Ralph?
No, I think definitely I echo what you say, around you can't really transform without moving digital. But I think what the most important thing is that it's clearly now it's not anymore about technology only. Yeah, I think when this whole hype around you need to digitally transform, I think most of companies start acquiring, and you can see the investment, super high investment in tech acquisition flying. But then when you really see about the effectiveness on their journey, you quickly realize that they haven't been so effective. I think many of them have been quick fixes that I think a lot of perception and hype made them think that they're going to be able to get a tool, an overarching tool that will be able to actually orchestrate all their processes. But if your processes downstream are not efficient, are not really suitable for appropriate automation, it's not going to go anywhere. But that's now the realization. Really, what we see is that data is at the center stage. You're not going to be doing anything if your data is not right, if your data is not complete. Because I think we talk a lot about digitizing processes, but when you see about the first horizon, it was we're going to digitize our processes, which are structured by nature, and that's what we're going to get really the big sense. But when you look at the overall spectrum of data, you realize that your data is maybe 20% of the overall data that exists across your ecosystem, because most of the other comes in an unstructured way, in a picture way, in a non-readable way. So I think this whole strategy around how to actually capture the data across the ecosystem from a partner, customer, that's really has been the big realization that's when you're going to be able to start doing that. You can then create an amazing data environment where you can start tapping in and take informed decision, because ultimately I think the key about data is not only about the acquisition, the transformation, but it's also about decision. Once you get this data and being able to get actionable insights and also actions that can quickly be being triggered by taking the right decision. So this whole spectrum of automation, again, when you think about it, it's not anymore transactional where you have an RPA which can execute step-by-step activities, but it's moving into a way more cognitive type of automation where you need to have decision engine taking the right decision and then invoking an action that can go back to your underlying system, automatically execute those actions, recalibrate operations, but on the back of decisions that are taken on the back of data. So if your data is wrong, the whole suite is wrong. So that's where I think we need to be quite aware that it's really data is the strategy. And that's what we say. Automation is a discipline that your employees needs to take every time they think about something. How can I automate to make it better? But it's a discipline. It's not a tech. It's not really, let's automate this part. It needs to be embedded in the mindset around automation is going to help me accelerate this. And this whole AI at the end, it's the refinement of this model. Because you're going to get more data. You need AI, machine learning to actually make sure that your data still has some high quality data so that it can go back to the automation, go back to the insights. And that's the whole loop.
This is very keen for us. And sorry, Raul, let me take an additional minute, because when we look at automation or process automation or digital process automation, that only makes sense if you automate with insights. Otherwise, you are taking the risk of automate something that are not working, and when you automate the processes that doesn't make sense, you are automating inefficiency. You will be inefficiently automated. We are quite keen to look at this as a very brand new way to the traditional process for engineering. Now, in the first moment, you look at them from a more process mining, process intelligence, and then we automate it. And like we will discuss probably a little bit better, we are using a lot of emerging technologies, like for instance, low code, to do that, to automate easily and in some way take from an agile perspective the traditional cycles of process improvement that the companies at the end are doing since the 80s. But now need to do it fast, need to do it more relevant. And as you know quite well, Raul, sorry, a lot of hairs today. We need to do it with boundaries, with safeguards, with governance.
Yes.
And this is very much what we are putting in our customers' agenda. It's not only automate, you need safeguards, you need guardrails, and you need a lot of governance to do that in a way that are efficient.
Yeah, I mean also, we can all imagine the tormented CEO now who is starting his calculator. Oh God, how should I accomplish all these projects and what scope?
Yeah.
And there's even one more pressing issue that we all discuss about. It's the war on talent, right? So with who do I do it, right? I mean, maybe Raf, you want to start us off with this?
So the war on talent. I mean, that's absolutely, I think, one of the biggest worry right now. I think across all organization, service providers, enterprise clients, everyone really is now. Obviously, there is the Great Resignation. Yeah, I mean that's clearly it's not like someone that came up with a marketing sentence saying the Great Resignation. It's happening, and when you see the attrition rates in large system integrator, I mean the average is around 30%, of people leaving the company and moving somewhere else just for a small increase in salaries.
Yeah.
So I think really we see that 80% are actually now very inclined to move, hop out job, just because of a small increase in salary, and there is absolutely a way of, I mean, there is a big war on talent between those organizations. Enterprise client, I think, clearly understood that they can't hire an army of internal people to run all these projects that by design require new skills, require new ways of thinking. So I think they're looking obviously at managed service, at partners, at service providers. And definitely they see it as I think now they see service providers not anymore as a one-time kind of service with a very well-defined scope to achieve a very tangible benefits around improving something or implementing a system and then leaving. I think now we can see way more, first of all, commercial models changing. It's not anymore input output based. Okay, give me 3 FTEs or process me 10,000 transactions and then you get paid way. It's now really moving into value based with a lot of metrics around innovation. So also companies are looking at service provider to bring the right talents to actually help co-innovate. It's not anymore bring me someone to run my SOP or actually to execute a number of transactions. And that's definitely, we've seen that enterprise clients realize that they can't really run these innovation projects alone, looking at service providers. But then also that put pressure on service providers. I think everyone's coming saying, I have all the right talents for you. But I think most of them also are a bit.
So what's your KPMG?
I'm not really transparent here. I think everyone is struggling. But enterprise have high hopes on service provider to bring those talents, which I'm not sure they're going to be able to find easily.
Just a remark for us, for KPMG, talent was always, our main raw material. We at the end we sell brainware. So talented people give us the ability to deliver better brainware. The topic and the description, it's very interesting. Global talent warfare, as someone call it sometime, are really in the agenda of the CEOs as we understand it from the CEO KPMG CEO study. But not only from the perspective that driving more digital transformation will demand more people, more skilled people, more talented people. Not only from that, we need to build more apps, we need to accelerate more due to COVID and all that stuff. We need more people being able to build me apps, build me application, build me solution. Not only from that side, but as you mentioned quite well, Ralph, also because talented people are also much more seen in the typical company, not only on companies like KPMG, as a way to build differentiation and to deliver differentiation, because it's quite relevant, not the tools, but the way the tools are used by the companies to drive innovation and to drive innovation fast. And this is, I mean, what we can call it. This is the base scenario today. And that leads us to the need of resources. Talented people means resources. We have no chance to be creative on that. We need to be creative, and be creative means set up innovative resourcing and delivery models. I mean, outsourcing, it's one of the topics, insourcing also, but also doing that from the technology perspective. I mean, using the tools that we have available today, and we are mentioned low code, and for us, low code is quite important also from that side. The limitations that probably the technology had on the past today are not the same. That kind of technology are quite evolving on the last years, and allow us to deliver really complex transformation with technology using low-code platforms. And that means that is a way to save more in terms of the utilization of massive developers and full stack developers and whatsoever to deliver, I mean, an MVP or a product sufficiently good to start building and creating, results. So putting that on the balance, balance resourcing, balance technology, we also need to be more creative regarding enabling people. And this is an investment that for us in KPMG, we are doing that from a global perspective. And myself and Raul, by the way, we are involved in Europe initiative to enable people to be able to be mobilized for the projects that we are doing in a way that we can scale training, scale the preparation of the people from different perspectives, being on universities, working with our alliances, technologies, working with you. We are working to understand better what we can do to go to the sources and accelerate it. Because, it's like oil. You cannot invent it. You have an amount, and you need to deal with that amount. But if you are more efficiently using that amount of resources, you will be differentiated on the market.
Yeah, perfect. I mean, as you both already mentioned, so we can maybe help these tormented CEOs by putting forward citizen developers. That is the normal workforce that can maybe establish low-code and automation projects without the need of hiring lots of talent. But how else can we help them? How can we as KPMG, but also as our clients, how can we really gain from the insights we had today. So what can we suggest our clients? What can we suggest our KPMG colleagues?
Okay, I will start it, and then probably Ralph can complement it with their insightful perspective from the analyst. We need to be more efficient training and enabling people and resources or consultants or whatever, how we will call it, and that efficiency will came from several perspectives. One is, as we can, we need to patronize our services, and this is the same as our clients when we help them to set up some center of excellence for digital transformation or also digital factory. It's the efficient of building that is the quality of the way where we can patronize the services. And patronize the services mean being able to create a delivery model working with the internal processes that you can reuse components that are already being developed, to do not reinvent the wheel anytime you need to tackle a new challenge or building a new service or creating a new product. So patronizing and at some point industrialize some of the components of that. It's quite relevant. It's quite relevant. Set up the guardrails and the governance. It's also other very important topic. We are supporting a lot of clients in some IT modernization initiatives. That IT modernization initiatives goes a little bit further than the core systems, goes in a way that they want to solve the shared IT problem, for instance, and also the tech debt from the last years, the developments that was done without a structure, and you must do it because you need to be efficient on the one Horizon 3 ecosystems that you described at the start, but you need to do it on a framed, on a structured, and on a governed way. So putting safeguards, putting guardrails, putting governance are strategic to that factories, centers of expertise, centers of competencies that a lot of companies are building to accelerate that topic.
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely aligned with what Rui is saying. So I think this whole citizen development, has been a lot of hype going on the overall citizen development. Yeah, and I think we need to be quite cautious around how a company embark on this. Yeah, so we always say that, you are very serious about running a holistic citizen development program, or you don't do it. Yeah, because if you run a badly designed citizen development program which is siloed by nature, I think the only thing you're going to create is frustration between IT and business function, a backlog of IT development which are half-baked because they don't follow development principle, security principle, which result in something pushed into production and next day failing, which means you have more IT service operation in place, more people need to actually solve this whole mess that has been created. It's not going anywhere. Okay. So I think, or you really invest in it and you have a clear roadmap around how this citizen development program is going to be deployed. Is it going to be starting with a functional area where actually you might have users sitting on the business side which way more IT acumen, which way more willingness of adopting those technology, so that also you can accelerate the training, change the way the process works here, because ultimately citizen development is an end-to-end process. And I think it's an end-to-end process from the discovery of an opportunity from a business users that are now empowered to do this, using a lot of self-service mechanism to actually translate a functional requirement back into a system specification document ready to be reviewed by an IT function, then development back to a function that can develop, then go back to an IT function that can refine the development so that it's production ready, and then push that into production. But it needs to be a whole process. It's not like I'm buying an amazing technology and now I'm a citizen developer. Yeah, it's not going to work if your change management system is not there, is not optimized. It's not going to work. So as I say, or you take it very seriously, and I think there are so much benefits down the line really starting that journey, because it's not going to happen overnight that you're going to have a bunch of users developing and putting in production without any hurdle. But it can't be run in a half-baked manner where there is not really a senior leadership sponsorship to push that forward with an investment. And with also, risk, obviously, that goes along that, but that's part of the journey.
Yeah, for sure. But that democratization of the IT development, it's something that cannot be avoided. It's a fact, right? You agree, right?
I agree.
So and shadow IT always was a fact in most of the companies, and the Excel sheet that some bank use to support that credit risk management process, a SharePoint, a solution to use it for some tactical stuff that in the meantime are on the edge of some specific department processes. I mean, that is a fact, and probably will continue to be, if not do it with what now we call it citizen developers. But citizen developers always are a real situation in most of the companies, and from the biggest to the smallest one. So they will exist. What we need to give them, it's tools to minimize the burden of the technical debt, the risk of being dependent of someone's agenda or not notebook for some critical application that in the meantime is relevant for the business. So it's a topic that cannot be avoided. I think we have some questions.
I think also we should go to the Q&A because there came some questions in.
Absolutely.
Can you put it bigger? Yeah.
So how do you see low code versus outsourcing in the very near future?
Well, I can answer this one.
Good.
This one is very easy. So it's not. I don't think it's versus. I don't think it's low code or outsourcing. I think outsourcing your service provider, those who manage your services, third parties. I think enterprise clients are expecting them to use low code technology themselves, to actually get or provide a better service. So if you had initially a development factory sitting offshore in India, where you ship all your development back to your outsourcing function, and they spend 2 months, 3 months developing something, what do you expect them to start using low code to reduce the development plan from 3 months to 1 month, and actually even provide a way better quality, because those low code tools ultimately also force you to stick to a very structured way of developing with security checks in the process, all the governance, which is usually best in class low code technology, offer this whole by design. So I think enterprise clients, we're still gonna increase their investment in outsourcing. It's not gonna go down. Actually, we foresee this investment on average growing by 8% in 2022. They're still gonna invest a lot in outsourcing, but they're gonna expect way more from service providers in terms of value. And they're gonna start also measuring very well how managed service providers are using these emerging tech to deliver a way better service. And I think that's where also the commercial model on value, and actually value at risk. If you promise me that you're gonna use all these best-in-class technology that service provider promised in their RFP, but down the line you're still doing the same process the same way, well, I'm gonna pay you less because I have a contract that tells me that I'm gonna discount 10% because you're still doing the same stuff, and you didn't bring any innovation, any acceleration with those emerging tech, low code being one of them. So I see actually decreasing. I see actually outsourcing increasing and the usage of low code increasing. But ultimately for a better benefit for the enterprise client to actually get a better service.
And I will not add much more than you mentioned it, Ralph. But that came for the topic that we already discussed. We cannot avoid it. We need to continue to be competitive. So a balance. It's not a question of decide between low code or outsourcing. Probably what we need to do better, and from a company that needs to use that outsourcing, what we need to do better, it's to define the rules of engagement that we want from that providers. Despite will be outsourcing, we need to decide the governance again, and that governance, the safeguards, the guardrail, everything that needs to be done to structure and to industrialize some of the components that probably will be the ones that be outsourced, and not only the ones that will be industrialized, but also from the one most creative and more innovative. It's a question of structure it in a way that could be balanced between efficiency of the delivery and the quality of the services that I need to deliver that faster.
I'm not sure if we have time for one more question.
Yeah, one more.
So the most important digital development fields in the next 5 years, what's your perspective on that?
This is for the analyst. It's a clear question for the analyst. Yeah.
So digital development in the next 5 years. Well, I think we already have these emerging tech, and specifically in the intelligent automation space that are here, but I think they're gonna really drastically develop in the next 5 years. The better usage of this whole spectrum of process mining, data ingestion, workflow, intelligent workflow development, and I think also something that is now quite hot in the agenda, specifically in the IT agenda. We start hearing a lot about self-healing technology. SAP is coming with a big offering now on business optimization, self-healing, called Bosch.
Self-healing.
Yeah. And it's really about technology that can actually go and recalibrate any kind of gap into a process, any type of gap into a configuration setting, any kind of gap into a role definition that you have in an SAP backend system. But it's really being able to have those digital agents that are quite intelligent by nature. But to be intelligent, you need good data. So it goes back to the whole. But these are digital agents which are not only a rule-based deterministic agent that go execute X, Y, 1, 2, 3, and then come back and park and get scheduled again. These are actually agents that make the most out of these information data that are in those big data lake, enabled through machine learning, through decision engine, start analyzing the environment. And I'm saying it's very much in the IT environment now. Business, I think it's next stage. But now in the IT, we see way more and more investment going toward that sense, being able suddenly there is a cloud configuration settings that is not aligned actually with the policy. Well, these agents automatically can go and recalibrate that cloud settings in any cloud environment, and doing this without even informing the IT function. It's transparent. There's just agent that stick to some policies prescribed, but I can gather so much contextual data, internal, external, so that they know that they need to recalibrate 1 or 2, 3 settings, readjust an authorization object because that role has maybe too many privilege access, but doing this without everyone noticing. So that's what we call really the self-healing. I think the IT function can be way more structured, but there is a push also to start bringing it to business function, being able to stop a purchase order if it doesn't meet XY requirement, but again, transparent. Not only, no one knows, you just inform at the end of the month that all these self-recalibration tasks have been performed, now you're way more secured, or you are way better than before. So self-healing is something we see a lot, and mainly right now in the IT space.
So since all of that relies on huge data and data quality, that will take us back to one of the most relevant issues and topics on the organization, that is the traditional data governance and data quality, because most of the companies still are still lacking on that, right? And since now we are trying to develop that self-healing tools, and they are based on actionable data, that topic will come back again.
Absolutely.
Sorry, let's send over to Miguel. Miguel, do you want to close this?
Okay, so thank you very much for this very interesting and enthusiastic conversation about way more than digital transformation. I think it was quite understandable that we need to go over and above anything related with IT when we look at this. It's more holistic. It has a lot to do with data, and it also has a lot to do with something that we in KPMG believe is the way in which to approach it, which is to look at the business, to look at what is the core of the business, and then put it also with the areas related with IT to enable it. Without that, it will be impossible to digitally transform or get the results that we need. And I think that's the biggest challenge that companies face now, how to manage all of this in a changing environment with all the other challenges that come both from security, from the price of the assets, from the absence or the lack of some of the materials that they need. So it's the perfect storm, I would say. But we need to start somewhere. And of course, all of these issues about the governance of data, the quality, is a good start on the remaining process. Luckily, there are some accelerators, namely, as we spoke about the low code, as something that can make us a little bit shorter time in developing some of the things. But I think it's a process. We need to continue to think about it. We in KPMG are, of course, committed both with analysts, with our alliance partners, to do this path with our clients and with everyone. So I think this is the key message that we leave here. And I believe we'll have the topic of digital transformation or something related with it in the next CEO Outlook survey. And of course, after that, we will have the opportunity to talk a little bit more about this. So thank you very much, Raul. Thank you very much, Ralph. Thank you, Rui. And thanks to all of the people that attended this talk. We will give you some insight and the recording of the session afterwards to someone that wants to look at it. And have a good day. Thank you very much.